Hey guys, welcome back. So I want to say thank you so much for the support so far. It's been massive. I want to thank everybody who has liked my video so far, subscribed, who has watched them. The feedback that you have been given has been really great. So I want to say a big thank you. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. So I want to thank you. If you're new here, my name is Ela-Marie. I love to talk about life, relationship, love, and especially some of the controversial things that fall under these topics. So I hope you enjoy my videos. Stay tuned for more. So today we're going to talk about 10 keys to having a happy marriage. These keys are keys that I have actually learned from watching people, married couples who have been married for many years, 25 years, 27 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I have noticed something from the way they talk. I've noticed something from their lives, and I felt like I should put it together with my experience so far and share with you guys. So I hope you enjoy. Our first tip is God. I believe as a Christian that God should not be out of anything that you do, be it your career, be it your family, be it your marriage, be it any aspect of your life, your academics. I believe that God should be the center of everything that you do. And also, I believe that since God created the institution of marriage, He has all the tips that you actually need to actually have a great marriage. And so if you involve Him, it's like having the past questions to an exam that is actually coming up. It makes things easier because you know what exactly to do. Because if you actually ask Him for the way to do this, for the way to do that, He will help you, He will direct you, and He will make your marriage very wonderful. So that's my first tip. Like, don't do anything without God. My second tip is patience. Patience. You can't have enough of that in marriage. You need a whole lot, like a whole lot, because usually opposites attract, right? I mean, that's what I believe, because I've seen a lot of marriages where like the husbands were so different from the wives, and generally even men and women are actually very different. And so you need a lot of patience to be able to put up with these differences. Let's just even use the example of a man being more of a quiet person than a woman. Like, a lot of men are like, like, my wife keeps talking, like sometimes I just need alone time. And a lot of women are like, he never listens to me, he always cares about his job, he always wants to do this. Like, he finds it more important doing other things than actually spending quality time with me. So there are a lot of differences generally between men and women, and so we need a lot of patience to be able to put up with each other. Somebody told me about how a marriage actually broke up because the woman likes to press her toothpaste from the bottom and the man presses his toothpaste from the middle. And it's like a big deal for the two of them, because it's like, every time I press the middle, you come and press the down part. Every time I press the down part, you come and press. Like, each and everyone is thinking, like, don't you have common sense to know that like, we are supposed to press from the bottom? Or somebody will be like, don't you have common sense to know that you have to press from the mid? I mean, you can press from anywhere. And it becomes a fight. And some of these petty things are the reasons why some people divorce. Some of them are not really major issues. These petty things, some people don't know how to just be able to cope with these little differences, and so it goes a long way. So it's very important that you ask God for a lot, and it's like, should be your daily prayer. A lot of patience, because you need it along the way. Like, every single day, every hour, you need the patience. So our third tip is kindness. It's actually very important to be kind to each other, even just generally. The Bible says that love is patient, Love is kind. Love does not, if you go to First Corinthians chapter 30, there's so many things. Kindness is very important. It makes the person feel like you appreciate the person. It makes your spouse feel like you think about your spouse, like, hey baby, I was just there and I thought of you and I bought this. It just occurred to me that men feel like women always buy boxers and singlets for them. So like, okay, you're just there and you're like, hey baby, I bought these boxers for you. I don't think it's, but I mean, like, yeah. Or like, you pass by a place, you see a shoe, you can afford it. Oh baby, I thought of you and I felt like you should have this shoe. Or baby, I saw this necklace. Or baby, I know that you really wanted this guitar and so I got this guitar for you. I mean, that's for somebody. His daily prayer. But like, little, it doesn't have to be anything big. Like, oh, I woke up this morning, I thought of you and so I did breakfast for you. These petty acts of kindness go a long way to make your spouse feel needed, your spouse feel cared for, no matter how small it is. Don't think about the big things usually don't matter as much. It's the petty ones that come from time to time. They actually really mean a lot. And so kindness is my third point for a happy marriage. Okay, so tip number 4 is selflessness. This. So my definition of selflessness, as given to me by a couple of pastors, actually, a couple of my pastors, is that it means dying to yourself, like making your flesh die. Like the me part of you just has to die, and for you to be able to embrace the us aspect of marriage. That is a very, very hard part of marriage, actually. Being able to say it's no longer about me, but everything about me does not matter as much as us, is very difficult, because you've grown like 20 something years, 18 years, 30 something years being you, living the you that you are and being comfortable with that aspect, and then you get married, and because you're with somebody else, you have to let that aspect of you die and now focus on the us. It's so it's very difficult, but actually it's a very important part, because when you start to let yourself die and you start to embrace the us aspect, you realize that things become easier. You get angry less, you get worried about things less things bother you, you start to flow through life like that. Like you start to flow, and things become quite easier, in my opinion. And so selflessness is my 4th tip. My 5th tip is that ask, don't assume. It's very, very easy to assume a lot of things in marriage. Assume that a person is doing something because they feel this way. Assume that a person didn't do something because they have a message that they want to actually bring out or let you know. He forgets your birthday and you assume it's because you don't matter. It's very easy. He doesn't do this, you assume it's because he doesn't want to. She does this and you assume it's because of this reason. Especially for ladies, I mean, the guy is quiet and you assume like he just doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Or guys, maybe the lady is moody and you assume that maybe she feels like you've done something wrong. There are a lot of assumptions that are actually really possible. But then if you feel like you know your spouse so well, does not mean that maybe what they are actually going through right now is what you know. Sometimes there are a lot of things that we go through that sometimes we cannot say. So it's best that if you feel this way, like sometimes you feel upset that he or she didn't do something, go and ask your spouse, why didn't you do this? The answer may actually surprise you. the answer may surprise you. A lot of people tell them things about their spouses, and then they just come to a conclusion. Yes, yeah. No, you just have to go and ask, because sometimes the reason for your spouse doing a particular thing is just not even close to the options that you thought of. And sometimes this live your life really cause you guys to drift apart, because then you start to distance yourself due to the assumptions, and it causes a lot of problems. So my tip is that ask. Even if it doesn't make sense, you just ask, find out. If you get upset, you just ask and find out. Then when you find out, then you guys can talk through and see how you're going to actually solve whatever it is that came up. So tip number 6 is drop your expectations. This was the hardest part for me, because every person actually goes into a marriage having expectations. I mean, I expect that my husband will treat me like a queen. I expect that my wife will cook for me. I expect that we will go out on dates. I expect that he will not shout at me no matter how much I provoke him. I expect, like, there's so many expectations, because everybody wants what's good for them, right? Everybody wants like something that will make them feel comfortable. So we have ways that we want to be treated. We have things that we want to be done for us. We have ways that we expect to be spoken to, like, you understand? But it's very important to drop all those expectations before you even say I do. Like, don't even leave the church with the expectations, because those expectations, they will drain you. They will drain every bit of you. And so, like, just so that you can just live a very peaceful and have a life that you don't have to worry and don't have to think about, because expectations get you thinking, especially when the person is not meeting your expectations. You start to think a whole lot of things. It even gives the opportunity for the devil to come and say a lot of things in your head, like that will actually go with the way you are feeling. But if you drop your expectations, and if the person is nice to you, enjoy. If you don't like something, talk about it. But if you don't get something and you feel like you really need it, talk about it. But if not, just drop the expectations, because they won't help you. They will just frustrate your life, because we're all not perfect, and so your partner is not perfect, you are not perfect, and so they will not be able to meet a lot of those expectations that you have. Then what do? Where do you go? What are you going to say? It's okay, take me to my father's house. And but when I was in my father's house, this is how my father was treating me right. My father was doing this, my mom was doing this for me. If you cannot meet these things, take me back to my father's house. Okay, I mean, that's you. But for me, I believe marriage is an institution that is forever. And so it means no divorce. It means that you're sitting inside the soup. That's why it's very important to marry carefully, to actually pray about the spouse that you're going into a relationship with, and about the person that you're going to marry very thoroughly. Make sure that, like, you actually invest a lot of prayer, thoughts. You have to investigate and all that before you get married, because there's no out though. That's, to me, there's no out. So lower your expectations, because they will just frustrate you. There are a lot of sleepless nights because of expectations. Like, people feel like the person should have done it, the person didn't do this. You are angry, you cannot sleep. Me, like this, when I'm angry, I cannot sleep. And then because I feel like, oh, he's doing something, then he'll be sleeping, and you're sitting there, you just in the morning, you still have to do what you both have to do, and your partner would have gotten rest, and you're just there frustrating your life, just becoming more depressed, all because you feel like you deserve something and you didn't get it. My tip is lower your expectations for your own good. It's not for me, it's for your good. So tip number 7 is have fun and have a lot of quality time together. When you get married and you have work, you have school, you have church, you have a lot of things going on in your life, plus kids. It's very difficult to actually be able to just realize that you actually have to spend quality time together. That's why people say that as much as possible, enjoy the first moments of your marriage, because they may not be the same anymore. It's true. And so some people decide that I'm going to wait 2 years, 3 years in my marriage before I start building up something, just so that they can actually be able to bond together. They can actually be able to know each other. They can actually be able to have as much fun. So it's very important to be conscious about this tip. It doesn't come naturally at a point. And so you have to make it a point to decide that, okay, maybe Tuesdays will be date night. Maybe Fridays we'll have games night. Or maybe Sunday after church we'll go somewhere, go and eat, go and talk for some time before we come back to our lives. It's very important to decide consciously that you're going to have some quality time. Okay, you have 24 hours. You pick about 50 to 30 minutes. Let's just talk. Just talk. You can just discuss how life has been so far. You can even discuss some of your memories, like talk about some of the memories that you had in the past. You can discuss where you see yourself. You can watch a movie together. Like, you should be conscious about this to make sure that as much as you have a busy time, as much as you all have your individual lives and everything going on for you, you actually have the us time that would be there to grow and to deepen the bond that you have with each other. Because as I said, it's a very long journey. You're going I see it as like 70 years plus. And so if you're going 70 years plus, you have to make sure that you are enjoying every bit of it, because marriage is not a curse, it's not a punishment. And so it was created to be fun. It was created for the company, it was created for the benefit of all of the participants. And so you should make sure that you are enjoying every bit of it as planned by God. So enjoy your marriage. Make sure that you are having fun together. Make sure that you're chasing each other around. You crack jokes with each other. You play cards with each other. Monopoly. You watch movies together. You take walks. You go on strolls together. You exercise together. Like, if possible, if you can be doing things together, like even if it's job wise, you can do the photography together, do the music together, do the accounting together. If possible, you should find some things that you have in common that you can be doing together, even if it's not like a movie, or it's not like playing a game, but something that your husband or your wife finds interesting that you can help, and that way you are doing it together, therefore you are spending time together. It's very important in the marriage setting. So tip number 8, which is something that many people will not agree with me on, but as I said, I'm quite controversial anyway. So in the tip number 8 for me is allow fights to take their course. I didn't understand this initially, and I this is personally from me. I learned it along the way, and I think it's been helpful. As much as I don't like fights, I really don't like fights. I mean, as much as I know it sounds ironic, but I don't like fights. I like to have debates with people and other stuff, but when I am actually fighting with someone who matters to me, like a friend, or anybody who is really close to me, my parents or anything, it actually really has a very deep effect on me. So I don't like fights. I say my mind and everything, but I don't like fights. And so when fights come, everything comes crashing down for me. But then I also am the kind of person that knows that without a very good relationship has fights. You get to learn about each other from the fight. You get to build on your relationship from the fight. So I got to understand that sometimes the fights are necessary, because sometimes they actually end up letting you find out what is on your spouse's mind. You end up knowing things that you actually did not know, because you through the fight you say your mind and your spouse says their mind, and they you just realize that I didn't know you thought this. I mean, I always thought it was that. Like, that's what there's something. Like, you were assuming at a point, and sometimes the fight makes you realize that you were assuming something somewhere at a point. And so it clears the air. Oh, I didn't think it this way, or I didn't mean it this way, and so I'm sorry. Like, just, I mean, for me, just allow it to take its course. Like, fight, I just don't believe in letting fights drag for a very long time. I think it's just draining. And so for me, as quickly as possible, I just want to forgive, like, let it go. Because if I don't forgive, I'm hurting myself. I'll start to think about it, I'll start to be angry. And when you're angry, you, like, for me, when I'm angry, I start being clumsy, I start like I start, everything just goes bad for me. And so I learned that, like, if you fight, just easily let it go. Which leads me to my next point of forgiveness. I think that the Bible says that let not the sun set on your anger. So I really, actually, really believe in that you shouldn't let your anger take a very long time. As easy as possible, just forgive. Especially with somebody you have to live with for the rest of your life. I think that if it's possible, just let go. I mean, it's not always possible. Sometimes it's possible. Sometimes we intentionally just drag it so that we can make a point. Like, we want a person to see that we are angry. So, like, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, we're just angry. Some people even forget why they are angry, and they are still angry. I mean, no names mentioned. But as easy as as fast as possible, just let it go. Me, sometimes I think about it, and I do, like, we do a lot of wrong, or I do a lot of wrong to God, and he forgives me. I just go to him, I say, Father, Lord, I'm sorry, and he forgives me. So I mean, if I really want to be like him, forgiveness should be my second nature. And so I get angry, I get upset, I'm human. But I'm a human being who also wants to be like Christ, right? So I decide that, oh, let me just let it go. I may not react, I may not smile as fast when I forgive, but I let it go. I mean, like, I really make it a conscious effort to try to let things go, even before sleeping, if I can. Like, before I sleep, I should just, because I'm the one who's going to stay awake. Oh, I'm the one who can't sleep. I'm the one who gets clumsy. I'm the one who everything goes bad for me when things are, like, when I don't forgive. And so I think that it's in my own benefit. Somebody said that hatred towards someone is like having poison and drinking the poison yourself. So in the end, you're killing your own self. You're not even killing the person. You're not hurting the person. You're hurting your own self with unforgiveness. And so I really believe that forgiveness should be your second nature when it comes to marriage, because there are a lot of things that the person will do to you. Maybe you, like, sometimes they're having a bad day, they'll speak to you badly. Sometimes you need something, they will not be able to do it in time, and then you're so upset because you really urgently need it. Sometimes you need their help, they are not there for you. There are a lot of things that can come up. If you don't make forgiveness your second nature, you're just going to be there being miserable. And what do you gain from that? Nothing. You're unhappy. When you are unhappy, you are both unhappy, because you start to do things that will make your spouse upset, and then both of you, there'll be a lot of friction. And then what's next? That's my question. That's always the question I ask myself. And what's next? So when I think about it like that, and I'm like, what's next? And I'm like, oh, let me just let it go. After all, I'm just hurting myself. And I mean, there's more to life right now. Like, you gotta chill, you understand? You gotta chill. And so I just let it go. So that is tip number 9. Then my last tip is that you should have your me time. Me time is very essential in marriage. You need time for yourself. You need time where you're doing something that you love and you are enjoying it. You don't always need to depend on your spouse. Sometimes that dependence can actually be suffocating for your spouse. So you need some time where you go chill by yourself, or you watch your own movie, or you do your own stuff, you go out, you have your own time, you let your spouse have their own time. It's very important. Initially, I thought it was one of those things that, why you came together as one? Why do you have to? We are now together, so we need to spend a lot of time. But eventually, I got to understand that me time is very essential. It makes you happy. It makes you happy. It makes your spouse happy, because your spouse can do something that they love doing. Especially with the men, they love me time like so much. Like, they just want to be left alone like most of the time till they feel like they need you in their space. So they feel like they need you in their space. So if you, as the lady, you're always like, and you want to be part of everything, you'll be frustrated, because most of the time he doesn't even want you to be part of what he's doing. Like, he wants to do his stuff, and then when he needs you, like, oh, come, then that's when they know that you exist, or come when they need you. But if not, they just want to be doing their stuff, and they feel comfortable in their own space with their own independence. And usually it's very difficult for ladies, the average lady. Especially, this tip is for ladies. Learn to enjoy your own time. Learn to enjoy your own space. Don't always be dependent on the man to be in your space. Learn to be comfortable in your space. Like, be there, like, play music, dance. But by the way, guys, am I lying about am I lying about the independence? If I am, you can comment it. But that's what I've noticed from a lot of guys that I've actually been close to, a lot of married men. I've realized that they really like their space, and so, like, they feel like the women are always there. Then, like, all they want is just peace and quiet. They don't even want like a pin to drop. They just want peace and quiet. And we just want to chat. We just want to talk about somebody, talk about something. And men are like, So this last tip is for our ladies especially. Learn to have fun by yourself. Learn to have your me time. Learn to enjoy yourself. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the 10 tips. If you have more, please comment. And if you have something to say about all 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, please drop it down there. Let's get chatting. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to share and comment. So till next time, I say bye. Baby, I'm lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's tip number 6. Let me say that's tip number 6. How is our life going to? So far? So far, how? You're not coming up. Which leads me to my next. Which need.